Something dangerous is happening in our law enforcement agencies, and it's not what you think. Tonight, we're going to take you inside a series of events that expose a coordinated effort to dismantle ICE operations from within our own justice system. What happened at a detention facility in Newark and inside a Wisconsin courtroom signals a frightening new phase in the war on our security. And the footage we're about to show you left veteran ICE agents stunned. And when our own White House reporter got answers directly from the top, well, let's just say there are a few people who will not be sleeping tonight. But why are certain officials actively working against law enforcement? Who's orchestrating this systematic sabotage? And what happened when they thought the cameras weren't rolling? Don't go anywhere. Now, while corrupt officials are weak, our law enforcement, too many American men are feeling weakened by low testosterone. But here's what they don't want you to know. It's not age that's draining your energy and strength. It's something in your daily diet that is crushing your T levels, just like we're exposing the truth about border security. Sculpt Nation with Test Boost Max is exposing the real reason behind America's testosterone crisis. And you want to know what's actually killing your masculinity? Visit sculptnation.com/NNN to watch the shocking video I do not want you to see. Now, I want to get into something real quick here because it was a remarkable moment at the White House. We got answers direct from the top. I want to bring up that clip here from Tom at the White House asking Tom Homan a question. Let me get that for you here. It should be right at the top where it's supposed to be. And where is it? There it is. Okay. So this happened just outside the White House. Tom McCullough posed a pointed question to Border Czar Tom Homan about lawmakers who roughed up federal officers. Homan's reply, let's just say he promises consequences that reach all the way to Capitol Hill. Watch.
This is a felony.
Like, Democrat lawmakers think the law doesn't apply to themselves when they assault federal officers. Like, if I did that, I'd be in jail the same day.
Well, no one's above the law. They've been screaming and yelling that about President Trump, right? No one's above the law. No one's above the law. Neither are they. And I think we're proving it.
Yeah.
I said from when you cross the line of criminal behavior, if you actively impede us, is a felony. If you harbor and conceal illegal alien, it's a felony. When criminal trespass is a crime. So I said that from day one. I wasn't bluffing. So right now you got a couple of judges in proceedings. You got a mayor in proceedings, and we'll see what happens with the Congress people up in Pennsylvania. I mean, New Jersey. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'll let DOJ do their work, but no one's above the law, including members of Congress.
Like, Democrat,
no one is above the law. Now, continuing with, I mean, Tom called me as soon as he got that hit, and it was remarkable. I'm like, dude, he said, because no one's at the White House. No one's there. Everyone's either at Congress or they're overseas. There's like hardly any members of the administration that are doing gaggles. And it was Tom and Brian Glenn on site at the White House, and they had like free range to ask Homan a question, and it had happened. So I'm going to get to more of this of the breakdown, but let's go back to Tom at the White House.
Jury. Hey guys, this is Tom McCullough reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And guys, America's under siege, and President Trump and his team, they are fighting back. So let's dive into the chaos rocking the nation today. So first up, Democrat lawmakers in New Jersey lost their minds storming an ICE facility in Newark called the Delaney Hall. They didn't just protest, they assaulted federal officers. This happened last Friday, and the Department of Homeland Security says it was a full-on attack. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, along with Bonnie Watson, Coleman, and Rob Menendez, led the charge with Newark Mayor Ross Baraka getting arrested for trespassing. They're whining that Trump's weaponizing law enforcement, but let's be real. They broke the law, they endangered federal agents and detainees. U.S. Attorney Alina Habba on the case, promising a deep investigation. She's not messing around, guys. Every piece of evidence will be reviewed to hold these radicals accountable. Here's a setup for what went down. Security footage and films show a Democrat lawmaker shoving through officers trying to bust into the secure facility. So go ahead and check this out.
Myself, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and Congressman Rob Menendez. We're here conducting an oversight visit, which we have the power to do as congressional members. Statutory authority, and so that is what we're here for, and we're waiting to speak to a supervisor to let us in here, because as you can see, they will not let us in.
Now, let's head to Wisconsin, where a rogue judge, Hannah Dugan, got indicted by a federal grand jury. She's charged with helping an illegal alien, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, dodge ICE agents. This happened on April 18th in her Milwaukee courtroom. Flores Ruiz, a Mexican national with a rap sheet for battery, was facing deportation. Dugan, knowing ICE was waiting, misled agents, telling them that they needed a judicial warrant, which is just total nonsense. Then she sneaked Flores Ruiz out of a back jury door to evade capture. ICE still nabbed him after a chase, but Dugan's actions were a slap in the face to law and order. So she's facing felony obstruction and misdemeanor concealing charges with up to 5 years in prison if convicted. Democrats are crying foul, saying Trump's targeting the judiciary. But, I mean, guys, come on. This is a judge who broke the law to shield a criminal. This guy was literally in court for domestic abuse. The Wisconsin Supreme Court suspended her, and 150 former judges are whining it's an assault on the courts. No, it's justice. President Trump's FBI Director Kash Patel said it best: no one is above the law. And that's the same thing Democrats have been saying for the last 6 years. So these stories show the left's meltdown over Trump's immigration crackdown. In New Jersey, lawmakers think they can storm federal facilities and get away with it. In Wisconsin, a judge thought she could play hero for illegal aliens. They're both wrong, and they're all wrong. Trump's team is restoring order, and Haba's investigation in Newark could lead to serious charges. Dugan's indictment is a warning: obstruct ICE and you will pay. And guys, this is what we need Trump. He's cleaning up the mess Biden left: open borders, lawless Democrats, and activist judges. The left's throwing tantrums because they can't handle a president who enforces the law. Guys, stay tuned, because this fight is just getting started. We're under 140 days in Trump's presidency. It's only going to get better and better. And this nation needs this so bad. And I'm Tom, reporting from the White House for the Next News Network. God bless, and have a great night.
I should point out that right after this is when Tom got Tom Homan at a gaggle at the White House. Remarkable that he got that. Okay, so let's dig into this thread we've created for you. Lawmakers storming an ICE facility while a Wisconsin judge smuggles an illegal alien on a courtroom back door. Two brazen assaults on the rule of law, officials sworn to enforce it. The border battle now rages inside Congress and in the courts. Do you hear about this? Ambulances were blocked. Clergy and protesters jamming Newark detention gates, forcing ICE to hold doors half shut so paramedics can't enter. Unbelievable. After Friday's riot, agents brace for round two as politicians hover nearby. Haunting viral footage.
2 hours that are... Hey, Jillian. So we've seen at least 2 ambulances try to get into this ICE detention facility here in Newark, New Jersey. One was right here through these gates, and they turned that ambulance away. Why? Because if they open up these gates all the way, like they did on Friday, then they're afraid people are going to kind of rush through. So right now you're looking at a group of people who have been out here for a few hours that are kind of blocking the gates. They're saying they're not going to allow anybody to come back in. These are clergy members who they say are trying to stick up for whoever is inside of this ICE detention facility. I know you guys have been out here. Hey, Jillian.
Think about that for a second. There's a medical crisis that's going on inside that facility, and they deemed it too risky to even open up those gates. That's how risky it was. That they could not provide medical attention for whatever was going on inside that facility. They said you can't come in because it was just too dangerous. This is a huge threat. Frame by frame video. We've got this from Tim Pool. Frame by frame video shows Representative McIver hammering an ICE officer, fist, while protesters shove for entry. This is out of control. This isn't oversight. It's felony assault televised.
And then wait, I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play it again for you. Look at that. Ooh, slow motion. Slow motion. There she goes. Dun, 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 punching the guy in the arm. She's punching a guy in the arm. You can see this guy. He's got police written on his back. Police. And then she's just punching him. Punch. Look at that. And then wait, there's more. Punch again. Second. Come on. Allegedly. I'm gonna play it again. That's pretty full color there. ICE director explodes. Lawmakers cooperated with assaulted agents and cried victim during press tour. He vows no special treatment. Charges are coming. Badges are not. Equal justice scares the swamp stiff. Watch.
Felonies. Tell you what, Jesse, what happened last Friday was we had members of Congress assaulting law enforcement officers. They were cooperating with criminals to create criminal acts, and then they're saying that they were providing oversight. This wasn't oversight. This was committing felonies. This was going out and attacking people who stand up for the rule of law, and it was absolutely horrible. I can't believe they act like this and then they defend it. And then they're doing these acts of violence to get people out of detention centers that are rapists, that are murderers, that are people that are foreign terrorist organizations that have been out there victimizing our community, the United States of America. What are they trying to do? Release these people back into the country so that there could be more Laken Rileys, so there can be more Jocelyn Nungries? I just don't understand what their point is. They have completely lost their minds. They
need new voters any way possible.
Completely lost their minds.
So you're saying if members of Congress break the law, they're not going to get special treatment. They're going to be treated like any other U.S. citizen. If they break the law, they're going to pay the price.
Well, that's up to the Department of Justice. My job is to follow the law and to make sure that individuals that are in this country illegally face consequences for that, and especially those that have committed criminal acts against the people that live in the United States of America. So the Department of Justice will make those decisions, but I'll tell you what, those ICE officers get up every single day and they love their jobs because they finally get to do their jobs with President Trump in the White House. And the fact that a member of Congress punched them, hit them, body slammed them, and then claimed that they were the victims, it's astounding to me that someone would even vote for someone and put them in a place of leadership when they perpetuate something as hypocritical and as criminal as what these individuals did. So
unbelievable. They're going full violence. Podcaster Troy Neff rips the spectacle. A 250-pound congresswoman ramming an officer to bulldoze a gate, all for governor campaign footage. He warns America is sick of clickbait politicians who trade blood for applause.
So I just finished recording a little bit ago my podcast for today. That's going to be up, should be up tomorrow, Tuesday at the latest. One of the things I talked about is LaMonica McIver. She's the congresswoman who has been accused of body slamming an ICE agent. So let me clear this up. It's real simple for anyone to see. When you hear the words body slamming, at least when I hear the words body slamming, I'm thinking somebody's picking somebody up, lifting them up, and slamming them to the ground in some form or manner, hooking them, hip toss, something like that, body slamming them. That's what I'm thinking of as body slamming. I don't know who first used the word when that was said, if it was, a spokesperson or whoever. This is what you'll see in the video. She's kind of like this, and she's got a gut, okay, because she's overweight, and she's using her heavy body to bang. As a bus was going through, they decided to rush in through the gate. They've been outside the gate with protesters. They're trying to get inside the detention facility, and this is what she's doing. Banging into the officer. However you do it. If you do that, if you do this, you can't do that to a law enforcement. You're going to get charged, or you should get charged, and she should get charged. Trying to make it sound innocent. Well, I don't even know how to body slam somebody. Bullshit, bitch. That's not what you did. You banged your body into somebody, And it's what they were referring to by body slamming, okay? So enough of the...
Let's keep going. While cops nurse bruises, Representative Timmons files a censure resolution during Police Week, calling the Gate assault intolerable and demanding consequences. Even inside the swamp, peers smell blood in the water. Accountability rolls forward.
Have to be held to Congressman William Timmons here. I just introduced a resolution to censure Rep. McIver from New Jersey. Her actions last Friday were absolutely unacceptable. She assaulted law enforcement. It's Police Week, for God's sake. I mean, this is ridiculous. We have to be held to a better standard, and she needs to be held accountable for her actions. Congressman William Timmons here.
Yeah, censure is probably taking a little easy on them. Under oath, DHS brass described the May 9 spectacle as a reckless political stunt. I mean, this is virtue signaling gone too far. Endangered guards and detainees, profanity, shoving, punches, trespass, all captured on security cameras.
Was not oversight. First, I would be remiss if I did not address the disturbing actions that we saw last week. There were members of this very committee that took part in an action at Delaney Hall on May 9th that need to be addressed. I served as a member of Congress in this body for 8 years, and I understand the importance of congressional oversight. What happened on May 9th was not oversight. It was a political stunt that put the safety of our law enforcement officers, our agents, our staff, and our detainees at risk. Here are the facts. As a vehicle approached the security gate at Delaney Hall Detention Center, a mob of protesters, including 3 members of Congress, stormed the gate and they trespassed into the detention facility. We have footage of those members of Congress slamming their bodies into our law enforcement officers, shoving them, screaming profanities in their faces, striking them with their fists, and otherwise assaulting law enforcement. The behavior was lawlessness, and it was beneath this body. Members of Congress should not break into detention centers or federal facilities. Had these members requested a tour, we certainly would have facilitated a tour. As a body knows, there are proper protocols and there are procedures that must be abided by. Congressional members and staff visit our facilities all of the time, and these members could follow the policies that have been in place, and they would have been followed. We would have facilitated a tour of this important facility. However, even after these members assaulted our federal law enforcement officers, we still provided them with a tour of that facility. I'm glad that at their press conference following the tour, these members acknowledged that Delaney Hall is in good condition and meets federal standards. Charges made by these politicians that Delaney does not have the proper permitting is false. We have valid permits and inspections for plumbing and electricity and fire codes that have been cleared. Lastly, I'd like to remind Americans and everyone in this body who is detained in this detention facility are murderers, rapists, known terrorists, MS-13 gang members, drug traffickers, and other heinous actors. I hope those members of Congress will so passionately protest on behalf of the American victims that they were elected to represent, and not just violent criminals who are in this country illegally. First,
I don't know how we even got to this point in this country where we have Democrats defending. I mean, you heard the list of people she's talking about who are in those facilities. And they're lining up, creating absolute havoc. Here we have cameras catching McIver breaking through the gate, but when reporters ask about slugging ICE officers or shielding criminals, she clams up. Total radio silence.
Congresswoman, I just wanted to ask you what your response is to being on camera assaulting ICE agents. Do you have a response, Congresswoman? Congresswoman, what's your response to DHS saying that the migrants held, or the illegal immigrants hiding in Delaney Hall are hardened criminals? Congresswoman, you had a lot to say outside the ICE facility. Why don't you say anything right now? Sorry about that.
Well, do we have two or more probably? Oh, you got my thing, right? We can take one.
Congresswoman, so you don't have.
This is what they do all the time. Take the elevator. This is their escape route. Time and time again. Reporters go up, confront them with the truth, hard questions, and they run to the elevator. And a lot of times they just snap back right before the elevator door closes, something they try to, gotcha the reporter. But we'll see what happens here.
Your assault on ICE agents? Congresswoman, I just wanted to ask
I guess
you.
we don't get to go that far, but she definitely needs to be arrested, charged. On late night TV, Representative Crockett laughs off the looming arrest, boasts that she's 10 toes down for gate crash colleagues, and trashes a remote president, all while cops file assault reports. Elites laugh, lawmen bleed. The disconnect is radioactive. Now, hearing transcript lists Newark detainees, murderers, rapists, MS-13 killers, terrorist suspects, the very ones lawmakers risked a riot to shield. When elected officials champion predators, ordinary citizens become collateral damage.
America. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and also thank you, Chairman McCall. Good to see you again. I was very privileged to serve with you when I served in this body, and to Ranking Member Thompson. I appreciate the invitation to be with all of you today and talk about important matters about securing our homeland here in the United States of America. Now, having previously served as a member of Congress, it's my honor to be on this side of the dais to present as the Secretary of Homeland Security. Today, I'm proud to discuss the accomplishments of President Trump and all that he has accomplished since he's taken office in the White House. But first, I would be remiss if I did not address the disturbing actions that we saw last week. There were members of—
Now, we saw that. She's already commented. Okay, so this is out of Wisconsin. Okay, we gotta bring this up. This is equally as important. Remember that judge? Well, now she's been indicted for spiriting an illegal alien out a back door.
County Judge Hannah. Federal prosecutors charged Judge Hannah Dugan last month. That grand jury in a hearing here today found probable cause to continue that case and issue that indictment. A federal grand jury indicting Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan after a hearing Tuesday in Milwaukee. Judge Dugan is accused of helping an undocumented immigrant named Eduardo Flores Ruiz evade arrest April 18th after being in her courtroom. The indictment says Judge Dugan had immigration agents leave the location of the planned arrest and go to the chief judge's office. Then it says Dugan instructed Ruiz and his attorney to exit the courtroom through a non-public jury door. Ruiz made it out of the courthouse, but ICE agents later arrested him. FBI Director Kash Patel posting this photo on X of Judge Dugan's arrest 1 week later. Former U.S. Judge Nancy Gertner, who's led an effort criticizing the arrest, spoke with 12 News political director Matt Smith on Upfront.
I don't think it would be acceptable behavior if it's true. The question is if it is true. The affidavit in support of the arrest says that she sent him out the side door to a public hallway. Let me repeat that, to a public hallway. This was not secreting him outside the courtroom. This was to a public hall. So I'm gonna withhold any judgment until I hear what the hell they're talking about.
And Kendall, Judge Dugan's legal team is now responding tonight. Right, in a statement to 12 News, her legal team says Judge Dugan asserts her innocence and looks forward to being vindicated in court. Now, Dugan is expected back in federal court on Thursday. She's currently not hearing any cases in Milwaukee County.
Some local news for you. Here we have a Fox panel searching Dugan as proof that tin pot judges think they're above the law.
Another front that goes
Senator Josh Hawley.
right to the heart of the America First agenda. A federal grand jury just indicted that Wisconsin judge, Hannah Dugan, after she allegedly helped an illegal avoid ICE at her courthouse. Senator, again, promises made, promises kept. Tom Homan, the president, said, look, you interfere with the full work of ICE, and we're going to hold you accountable. And it looks like a grand jury, at least for now, it looks like this is serious for this judge.
Yeah, really serious. Well, it's a federal crime. She committed a crime. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of these judges all across the country acting like they're above the law, acting like they are some sort of tin pot dictators who can sit up there and say, oh, here's what we want to do. I'm going to run the country. I'm going to be president. They're supposed to be following the law, Laura. They're supposed to be adjudicating the law, and they're supposed to be following it as private citizens. And this judge was doing neither. So I'm glad she got indicted. I hope they prosecute this thing all the way through. It is outrageous for a sitting judge to be trying to obstruct justice in the United States of America. That's what this individual was doing. This is a clear message to these judges. Start doing your jobs and quit obstructing the fair implementation of justice in this country.
Yeah, just so everyone remembers what happened, she was actually allegedly escorting illegals her own courtroom back door to try to, avoid ICE taking custody of them. That's how bad this has gotten. And we have situations with similar, varying, but similar fact patterns in places like Massachusetts. Lord knows how many times this has already happened across the United States. You have the situation in another front.
Yeah, we don't know. From the Senate floor, critics tied Dugan's escape plot to Newark's gate riot, warning of a pattern.
Just so everyone remembers what happened, she was actually allegedly escorting illegals out her own courtroom back door to try to, avoid ICE taking custody of them. That's how bad this has gotten. And we have situations with similar, varying, but similar fact patterns in places like Massachusetts. Lord knows how many times this has already happened across the United States. You have the situation in Newark facility, Senator, where everyone's pulling stunts to try to get on camera and have their viral moments, protecting the worst of the worst there.
Yeah, you've got sitting judges like this one, state court judge, members of Congress, who are openly flouting the law. And they're out there giving us moral lectures while they're defending terrorists, defending gang members, and flouting the laws of the United States. And this judge is a particularly egregious case. Laura, I'm glad she has been indicted. I say again, I hope they prosecute this case to the absolute fullest. And let every other judge and member of Congress out there take a lesson from this. You are not above the law.
Journalist Dan O'Donnell dissects the courthouse caper. Dugan stalled ICE, routed the fugitive through staff-only corridors, and exited via a jury door.
Politics and ethics surrounding Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan's arrest. I'm Dan O'Donnell, and more videos like this, plus the best conservative analysis in Wisconsin, shockingly little analysis of the actual charges against her. And there's a reason for that. Those charges are absolutely supported by the evidence. She knowingly violated multiple federal laws in helping an illegal immigrant criminal escape authorities carrying a valid warrant for his arrest. According to the federal criminal complaint against Dugan, ICE agents presented their warrant for Eduardo Flores Ruiz's arrest. She sent them away to the chief judge's office for permission to arrest him outside her courtroom. While they were gone, quote, defense counsel and Flores Ruiz then walked toward each other and toward the public courtroom exit. The courtroom deputy then saw Judge Dugan get up and heard Judge Dugan say something like, wait with me. Despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. Once he was outside, Flores Ruiz tried to run away, but he was quickly chased down and arrested. Dugan now faces 2 charges, and the evidence clearly supports convictions on both. The first charge is obstruction of proceedings, which prohibits obstructing or impeding the due and proper administration of the law before any department or agency of the United States. The key questions are thus this: Was the service of an ICE warrant the proper administration of the law? It sure was. Did Dugan obstruct or impede that by sending the arresting officers away and then shuttling the subject of their warrant off through the back door to help him escape? She sure did. And multiple witnesses confirmed that she did. She is therefore guilty under this statute and subject to a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison. She's also charged with concealing a person from arrest. Under this statute, it's illegal to harbor or conceal someone for whom a warrant has been issued after knowledge of the fact that a warrant has been issued. In other words, did Dugan know that there was a warrant for Flores Ruiz's arrest? She did. Did she then harbor or conceal him from arrest when she distracted the arresting officers and let him escape through the jury room? She most certainly did. She is therefore guilty of this crime as well and faces an additional maximum sentence of a year in federal prison. When you strip away the politics and the outrage over Dugan's arrest, this is a remarkably straightforward, simple case. The statutes are clear, and her actions are unmistakably illegal. Hannah Dugan is neither a freedom fighter nor a martyr. She's a criminal, plain and simple. For the McIver Institute, I'm Dan O'Donnell.
That was an excellent breakdown. Oh, wow. Here we go. Reporters swarming the courthouse. Judge, any comment? This is the perp walk answer. Silence.
Judge, anything to say about this?
Yeah. Shame and disgrace. Unreal. So, these two events are more than isolated incidents. They reveal a calculated strategy to undermine law enforcement from within our own institutions. The very question that every American should be asking tonight is how many other judges and officials are actively working to obstruct immigration enforcement? Share your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from over. And patriots across the country are standing up for our law enforcement officers, and everyone is waiting. So do you want to join the movement? Hit the link in the description and visit our store because when we stand together, we can't be silenced.